Can you put your can you get your headphones on? Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Driving Maul post-game reaction to Australia versus South Africa. I'm Paul, the guy behind Driving Maul, and thank you very much for joining me. The game finished 23-all. It does seem to be the season of draws at the international side, and I am joined by Josh. Josh, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good, Paul. How are you, mate?
Not bad at all. And before we get into digging deep into that game, let's just want to quickly catch up with you as to how you saw the All Blacks versus Pumas, because I've seen some of your tweets and they've not been totally complimentary of the All Blacks.
Nah, look, I thought the the All Blacks today, I mean, they did enough to win, but they're very much a side that probably had next week on their mind with South Africa. I think pretty much they win against South Africa next week, and that's the Rugby Championship. So there's probably an impression for me that they took Argentina lightly, and Argentina are a good side on their day. So the best team won today, but I wasn't particularly impressed by the All Blacks' performance, and I expect to see quite a few changes next week.
It was disjointed, and then we had, and obviously the Pumas sort of ran out of steam and got that last quarter. But it will be interesting to see next week. You're right. I think he'll try and get looking for subtle combinations rather than lots of changes. I think the problem has been that it has to do too many changes this week, and players just hadn't played with each other too much. But we'll have to wait and see. But we had a cracker over in Perth, with a sea of blue, or a lot of fans in blue. As the commentator said, mourning the death of the Western Force. But we won't go into that tonight. It kicked off almost a bit of a kicking battle early on, wasn't it? Both sides starting to kick quite a bit for territory and stuff.
Well, that was right. I mean, I think both sides tend to cancel each other out at the breakdown, and for the most part, I think the kicking was of necessity. I mean, both sides were struggling to really put together phase ball, and it was almost, let's kick and hope, really. As I sort of mentioned to you before we sort of went on air, the Australians in particular, they based their game on getting quick rough ball, and South Africans were very much able to slow that down at the breakdown and really reduce their options. Likewise with the Springboks, I mean, they were good in parts, but there was a lot of kick and hope from both sides, really, I thought.
I think we saw definitely a change in attitude from the Springboks second half. In the first half, I had a quick look at the stats, and only 2 of their players had made more than 10 metres running with the ball. So the Springboks definitely were had a kicking style game early on. But as you say, they did their homework well, especially the back three of Khaleesi, Creel, Kassiem had a really good game disrupting that Wallaby ruck ball. And so the Genia was kind of on the back foot, or always had. Cool, we're getting some bad feedback here. Sorry about this, folks who are listening. But they seem to have, they did the homework and really did disrupt that ball for Genia. I thought also Foley went a bit missing in this game. It felt to me that Bill was running it more than Foley. I'm not sure where he got. I think I saw him out on the wing more than I saw him at first receiver.
No, I agree. I think as you say, Curtly Beale had an outstanding game from my point of view. I mean, he was involved constantly, both with an organisation and on attack, and he was as dangerous as Curtly Beale can be. But you're right, Burton Foley. I'm not sure that was one of his better games. I think it was. Similar to, I guess, his All Black counterpart, Beauden Barrett, who possibly didn't have his best of nights tonight either. That was not a good game from Foley at all.
I was going to a couple of stats for you and see where you think this game was. We heard Chicker at halftime apparently say how that he was happy that the Wallabies defence was holding up, and yet they improved to make 50 out of 71, i.e. 70% of their tackles. They were down below 60% at one point during the first half. whilst maybe scrambling and stuff, that's really not the kind of that's not a winning formula. Missing that many tackles, is it?
No, it certainly isn't. And I mean, I certainly know from my rather, I suppose, average days of playing rugby that if you miss 40% of your tackles, then you're not going to win 9 times out of 10. And sure, scrambling and all that, but the Wallabies missed a lot of tackles in their 2 games against the All Blacks as well, which they're punished for. Okay, today they didn't lose, they didn't win, but you can't consistently win games of rugby when you're missing that many tackles. That said, the Springboks weren't, I suppose, good enough to take advantage of that, but certainly you'd be concerned by those sort of stats.
There's I because of those stats, but to the flip side of that, especially in that first half, they controlled the territory and the possession with 60% in both, and overall with 57% possession, 56% territory. They were playing in the right place, and they had the ball as well. A lot of people agreeing with you in the live chat, saying that yes, there was a lot of kick and hope. I think not only do we see the Springboks kicking from 10, but we also saw them spread the ball wide and then have the fullback join the line and kick there. And so they were altering where they were kicking from, trying to find gaps at the back. But Beale was playing as a second fullback, which we know he can do. So the Wallabies, again, did their homework and had that sort of tactic pretty much negated because of that.
Well, that's right. I mean, I saw where Courtney Beale was playing for a lot of that game, and I thought for a second 5/8 or an inside centre or whatever, that at times that positioning was possibly a little bit unconventional, but it paid off for the Wallabies tonight. You wouldn't want him playing like that every week, but based on the Springbok tactics, I think what he did was excellent tonight.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we've talked about on the show previously about Australia, is when Foley Beale is not a strong defensive unit. So if you're going to try and hide 2 players either out on the wing or in the backs, you've got a problem there if you're bringing Hodge in or Folau up. And something we saw that the All Blacks do is put Beauden Barrett out on the wing a couple of weeks ago defensively as well. So he was perhaps has also been question marks there on that, or whether they're using his pace is the flip side. The Australia started the second half well, managed to get 10 points and get into that lead, and rolling mauls seem to be the set piece seems to take much more precedence in the second half than the first half.
Yeah, it did. And to be honest, I thought when Australia were 20-10 up, I thought at that point they'd gathered a bit of momentum and possibly they'd run away from it from there. Obviously, it didn't work out that way, but and I'm not sure why that was, but that I guess you could say that they did use some varying tactics. I think the rolling maul was particularly effective, as you saw with the the try that they scored there. But at the end of the day, they probably from minutes 55 onwards, Australia sort of went to sleep a little bit, and a game that they could have grabbed by the scruff of the neck, they weren't able to.
Yeah, one of the things that Cheika was complaining about in the junior nationals was the lack of fitness that the players had come in out of Super Rugby, and maybe we saw a bit of that here as well today. The set piece suddenly seemed to fall apart in that second half when the players got tired. They lost 4 of their own lineouts, which at this level is criminal. And whilst the stats say they won 7 out of 8 scrums, it didn't feel that they had that much parity at the scrum either.
No, it didn't. And I mean that Australian scrum is okay, but any time that you've got Scott Sear at loose head and Kopi Kepu at tight head, then you're probably going to get parity at best. If not, against the top side, you're probably going to be losing the scrum battle. And I mean, look, the Australians have struggled for a decent scrum for probably at least the last 15 years. So there's nothing new there. But you'd expect, 9 times out of 10, the Springboks to probably have the better of the scrum battle. That said, I mean, you looked at the the props that the Springboks started with tonight, Westhuizen and Intuawera. I mean, they're not, to me anyway, at the top level of international props. So, again, you probably...
And the Beast is more mobile prop than perhaps sometimes a scrummaging prop. But also, we had the reserve hooker for the Wallabies has played 3 or less Super Rugby games. I can't remember exactly how many he's played. And to have that inexperience coming into an international game, I know people aren't a lot of people aren't Stephen Moore's fan, but he definitely has a lot more experience than that. Not only 3 Super Rugby games and then coming into an international. That's very callow, and we saw that pretty much in one of his early lineouts, which wasn't straight, and that definitely hurt them, particularly there as well.
I agree. Yeah,
we've talked about Beale as being a particular standout. Any other standout sort of Wallaby players that you liked this evening?
Yeah, I mean, I think most of the Wallabies backs. I mean, you've got the likes of Folau was shut down quite well tonight. I thought he didn't really have much of an opportunity to shine. Kenya was good, but again, there was a limit to what he could sort of do behind that pack. So, for me, Beale was probably the standout, and there's some hard-working forwards in there. I thought, Sean McMahon was reasonably good, but Michael Hooper, I thought, did what Michael Hooper normally does, but for me, Beale was probably the best.
Yeah, I also liked. I thought Reece Hodge also got some good running lines in, made some good breaks, and he was the second most yards running with 84 meters, and he had 2 clean breaks, perhaps those are the 2 that caught my eye. So I thought he also had a pretty good game out on the wing. Again, another guy who's taken a bit of flack as being a fairly kind of defensive winger, but I thought tonight he did a pretty good job on that front.
Yeah.
And from the Springboks side of you, who stood out for you there?
Yeah, I mean, again, hard to really stand out, for any of the players to really stand out. I've always been a bit of a Malcolm Marx fan in terms of what he does around the track, as a hooker. I mean, he's, the accuracy of what he did. I mean, he was off at times tonight, but, I really like, the force that he is at breakdown. In terms of the backs, I mean, I think for the most part they cancel each other out. But I thought the 2 Creels, Jesse Creel and also Jaco Creel were pretty good as well. So those would probably be the 3 that I'd point to for that game.
Yeah, Creel Jaco Creel was getting over the ball quite a lot. It was definitely part of that disrupting of the breakdown that we've been talking about. Khaleesi as well, I thought had some barnstorming runs and put in some key tackles that turned over the ball. So he made his presence felt, and is someone that is definitely shone in international rugby this season, and I think we'll see a lot more of. I think those are the only 2 dangerous players when we come to next weekend against the All Blacks. And I guess for me, someone who I haven't rated before, but I thought had a sort of kind of came in and out of the game, but was Jan Serfontein, who I say previously, I wasn't sure why he was in ahead of Van Rensburg, but tonight I say he had a bit of a game where he came in and out of the game a bit there.
Yeah, I mean he was fine. I mean, looking ahead to next week, as you say, I mean I think it's the Springboks will do what they normally do, which is to in New Zealand, which is to provide the All Blacks with a real challenge. But based on what we saw tonight. I'd be surprised if they beat, the All Blacks next week. But, you never know. I mean, they haven't won in New Zealand since 2009, I believe it was. So, and, but then again, who knows? I mean, I think the Springboks are a much better team than last year.
Yeah, they clearly have stepped up from last year. I mean, they didn't win a single game on the November tour. They lost to Italy. They drew with the Barbarians. So, they're definitely up on that. But then again, how much lower could they go? A good point by Anton May with Moody is out in all likelihood. I think at scrum time they're definitely going to be scratching the depths of the All Black sort of prop resources, with Frank's also out, and Charlie Philomena has gone over to Europe. So that's 3 sort of first choice props for the All Blacks out. So I think that's going to be an area to keep an eye on next weekend.
Yeah, I mean, you have to agree with it. Although Wyatt Crockett will come and start, and he's certainly, although he's a player that I had my doubts about some years in the past, but he's now a proven performer, and he'll step in to start all right. I guess on the bench you'd probably go with Kane Hames. He's only played 2 tests, both off the bench, so I suppose an unproven quality. But on the tight head, Nepo Laulala has really stepped up. And to me he's a proven test starter now after 2 tests. So I mean I think sure you'd rather not lose a player like Joe Moody or Owen Franks, but I think give us another 1 or 2 injuries and then I'll be worried. But for now I think I still think we'll be okay.
Do you expect to see any changes from the Springboks for next weekend's game?
Yeah, good question. Possibly not. I mean, there may be 1 or 2, but it depends on what sort of game they want to play. But I don't imagine there'd be too many changes from what they presented this week. Maybe in the back row they might look, Kasim, for example. I'm not convinced that he'd be a starting number 8, but they may bring someone else in. But who knows whether or not they have a change at halfback again. Whether or not Cronje's the right man, I'm not convinced about that. But again, Yancey's. Do you want him playing New Zealand versus Pollard? I mean, I'd probably look at a guy like Pollard, to play against New Zealand rather than Yancey's. But we'll see what I guess they decide.
Well, I mean, Pollard was on the bench tonight, but he didn't come off the bench. So having not had any rugby, I think it'd be a bit tough to start him straight off the bat. I mean, Creel is definitely the not Creel. What I'm talking about, sorry, Cronje is definitely the player that the coaches, the South African coaches, see as being the man. I mean, I think he's started probably all of the internationals. Well, definitely all the Rugby Championship games this year. So I think, I can't see them changing that. So I think we'll see pretty much same side from them. On the All Black side of things, do you any changes there?
Well, there'll be quite a few from tonight. I mean, tonight's lineup had very much the nature of a, look, let's think about next week against the Box. So there were a lot of guys that were rested. Sam Whitelock was one. Sam Kane didn't start. You had. I mean, Sonny Bill. I'm not a Sonny Bill fan. I wonder if they might go with Crotty and Leonard Brown next week. I think at fullback too. I don't think at that level you can have a short 15. Damien McKenzie's a very good player, but metre 70 something. You're a magnet for the high ball at that level of the game. And I think whether they put Dag there or whether they put Bowden Barrett there, I'm not sure, but. I don't think they can play him next week. And certainly Ioane will come in on the left wing.
Yeah, actually, it's sorry, certainly who on the left wing?
Ioane.
I think Ioane back. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Whitelock and Kane back in. I'm not sure where the state of Aaron Smith is and his off-field demeanours, whether that was anything to do with this week or whether he was just being rested, but he could also come back in. Liansov Wanga might be brought in at 10 for his kicking, and I think you're right with Crotty. Definitely would be coming back in, and then I think it's time to give McKenzie a bit of a break after 3 games on the trot tonight. He definitely was caught out under the high ball, wasn't claiming them in the way you expect an All Black 15 to do so. So I think all those changes are probably going to be. We could see those sort of changes coming in there. I think we're probably any final points you want to make? Because I think we've probably got through most of the stuff for this evening.
No, I mean, I think tonight, I really genuinely thought that it was going to be an even game between the Wallabies and the Springboks. I didn't have the guts really to pick a winner on it, and at the end of the day, I didn't really need to, did I? So it was And I think drawn game, you know, from an All Black perspective, I guess, is a good thing as well. It, you almost think, you know, if they can beat the Springboks next week, then, you know, there goes the Rugby Championship, really. You know, the Springboks have still, I suppose, got a mathematical chance, but, you know, it's hard to see the All Blacks losing in Argentina. So unless the Springboks beat the All Blacks twice, then, you know, there goes the Rugby Championship, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's very true. It's the old kissing your sister kind of result, as the famous saying goes. But no, I mean, I had it Wallabies by 3, so I had it as a close game as well. I've never predicted a draw, but yes, I think it is going to be it was always going to be a close game, and that's what we saw in the end, and it's set us up nicely for next weekend. So. Why don't you let people know how they can get hold of you and all the quizzes that you organise?
Yeah, look, on Twitter, New Zealand Rugby Quizzes is the handle that I use. I tend to do a lot more probably updating of old quizzes than new ones these days. But you know, I do a lot of rugby quizzes. They all tend to be quite original ideas, and I'm welcome to ideas. So if you've got ideas around what I can do, let us know, and you know, we'll do our best to make it on. Very much around the stats, so you know, any sort of rugby quiz that I can make where I can get hold of the stats, I'm going to do it. So, you know, have a look, have a you know, have a check out of what I do, and you know, there's some pretty interesting stuff there. And yeah, let us know if there's anything that you're interested in that you want me to have a crack at as well, because you know, I'm all about the numbers and you know, all about the ideas. So, you know, give us a yell.
So there you go. New Zealand Rugby Quizzes on Twitter. Let him know what quizzes you want to see, and he has got a whole good, massive back catalogue of different quizzes for you to try out. Not just around New Zealand, but also around Six Nations teams and Japan as well. So lots of World Rugby quizzes in there. I've been Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul. Thank you so much for joining us. Please remember to subscribe to the podcast. We are on iTunes, Stitcher, Acast, SoundCloud, and all of those sort of things. Do leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. They are much appreciated and apparently help us grow and reach more people and all of that kind of wonderful stuff. If you want to watch the what happens behind the scenes on any of these things, then check out the DrivingMaul YouTube channel and subscribe there as well. I've been Paul. And Josh has been my great guest for me this evening. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll catch you all on Tuesday night at 8 p.m.